This is the Amazon ad strategies for 7-figure Amazon sellers and channel managers. Before we get into the details, and then there's some pre-work you need to do. So firstly is the conversion rate. So you want to make sure your conversion rate currently is above the category median. The reason why is if your conversion rate is not good, no matter how much money you spend, it will not help the organic rank of the product. And you just like bleeding money into advertisement and get the profit, and you want to avoid that. So make sure you check the Amazon's report for average category conversion rate and comparing with what you are now. And if your conversion rate is way below the average, my suggestion is turn off the advertisement now and optimize your conversion rate first, and before you start to relaunch it again. Second step is to set up a goal about the main KPI. So the main KPI for the advertisement, I only pick two here. One is the number of the clicks, and the second one is a cost. Number of the clicks, and ensure you will get enough sales in order to get the organic rank and the total sales of the product. And the a cost will make sure you are profitable if you set up correctly. So next, I'm gonna dive into bid strategies, CPC management, click management, budget management, and bid placement. Firstly, bid strategy. We all know that Amazon gives us 4 types of bid strategy: up and down, down only, fixed, and rule-based, right? And I will teach you from our experience and about how to leverage those strategies and based on different circumstances. So firstly, up and down. Honestly, we are not using that very often. The reason why is it will give you like 100% and increase your current bid, which is a lot. If you combine it with a bid adjustment strategy, and then you can be like 200 or 300% and over what you're bidding now, and it's a little bit out of control. So the time that you're using it is usually at the product launch phase, or you get into a new category that you are not familiar with and you didn't know what is the right CPC in order to give you impression, and you want to get that result very fast. So for that type of purpose, and we're going to set up like average bid and then turn on the up and down. So if you cannot see your impression very quickly and by using only or fixed bid and then trying using up and down, and you're going to see the impression immediately the same day or even the next day. So from there, and you know what is the right amount of CPC that will give you impression. So that is up and down. Secondly, down only, I think that is the one that we use for most of the campaigns. The reason why is it is more easy to control, and because you set up a bid and you will not spend above what you're bidding. So the downside is you might not get enough impression if other people is bidding aggressively on the same targeting that you're bidding. We're usually using that for the stable campaign that perform well and if it fit your A cost goal, but keep an eye on that whether it will meet your clicks goal or impression for the campaign. If it's not, and then trying to change that into a fixed bid to make sure you get enough exposure or increase the bid. And if you want to keep the down only strategy, we're usually using fixed bid for the keyword targeting, specifically for that keyword in order to improve the rank. Because for the keyword that you want to improve the rank and you want it be in a specific position, for example, on page 1, top of page 1, or like the middle of the page 1, and in order to get enough clicks and exposure. And by using down only, and sometimes it's not guaranteed to get that position. So once you figure out what is the average CPC for that campaign, and you can turn that into a fixed bid for the keyword you want to rank to make sure you get enough clicks, or you want to maintain the keyword rank. So that is the right strategy you're going to use for bid. So the fourth one is a rule-based, and that is a new strategy that I think Amazon rolled it out this year or last year. Our experience is it is hit and miss, right? And for example, you set up a goal of 35% A cost, and sometimes you get it and sometimes you don't, because your performance and frustrate a lot and based on the conversion rate and the competition. So my suggestion is you can try it, and my suggestion is you try it for the campaign that has a historical data, which means you have a lot of clicks and impressions, and then the number is more stabilized. So Amazon can use the historical data to give you a more stabilized CPC, because otherwise your number will be frustrated a lot, because firstly you don't have enough data, secondly your performance will be frustrated a lot, and which will give you the instability about the performance of your app. Secondly, CPC management. I think that is one of the most important things you need to manage, and if you are the advertisement manager for the product and the campaign. Very important that we need to know what is a benchmark for the CPC, right? So your benchmark will set up based on your product price, your ads conversion for your targeting, and your A cost. So the formula will be the average CPC equals to your product price multiplied by the conversion of your targeting multiplied by your target A cost. And as for targeted A cost, it also depends on what is the purpose of the campaign. If this campaign is to generate the rank, and you can set up a very high A cost goal. So for example, 50% or even 70%, right? Depends on the phase of the product. So if that is the case, and then your CPC benchmark will be higher, because remember, like the formula is the price multiplied by the conversion multiplied by the cost goal. If A cost goes up, and then the CPC have the room to increase it. And for the campaign data to just maintain the traffic, or you want to be profitable for the campaign, usually you set up very low A cost, or like it's lower than your margin. So for example, 30%, right? So if that is the case, and you cannot afford to set up a high CPC unless your conversion rate is very high. So do use the formula and use historical data and for each targeting, for each campaign, and you set up the benchmark. So when you do the daily maintenance, and you know what goal you want to hit. After setting up the goal, the next step is the daily maintenance, right? We know every day is different day and your performance change. So don't changing too often. And if the campaign is performing well, I always looking at the historical data at least 7 days, or even like in the 14 days, and then check 7 days, 14 days, and 30 days, and to really like make decision, and don't like based on 1 day's data to make the adjustment. It is not necessary. It's a lot of work, and it might not be accurate. But for some new campaign you just started, and then it's worth to keep a close eye on it and make sure you're not bleeding. That is criteria for CPC management. So the next important element is click management, and click management is also one of the most important metrics you want to manage. The reason why is it is the main activities to drive the sales. So the rule of thumb is you need to drive enough clicks in order to drive the sales goal. So for example, you have a sales goal for a product combined with ad sales and organic sales, right? And then you using that number to multiply by the percentage of the sales, and then you can get the number of the ad sales you need to get. And then you divide that by the conversion rate of the ads, and that will give you the total ad clicks for that product in total. So if you like manage your ads yourself, or you hire someone manage it for you, and the next step you need to do is you breaking down the ad clicks, the total ad clicks for the product into each campaign or each type of campaign. So let's say if you need to get 300 clicks in total for the product, and you can set up a goal about, I need 200 clicks for sponsored product campaign, and we need 100 for a brand campaign, right? And then under the product campaign, you can break it further down into how many clicks you need for auto, how many you need for manual. So I'm not suggesting like you set up a click goal for each campaign, because usually you're going to have like dozens of campaign for one product, and then it's not necessary, but break it into 3 to 5 types. And I think it's a right guideline for you and your PPC manager to manage your clicks. And the ultimate goal is to make sure you can maintain the sales goal for the product, so you're not losing your organic rank if your product is already doing well. So next part, we're going to discussing about the budget management. The mistake you want to avoid is you have to avoid the campaigns running out of budget at the beginning of the day. If this happens, which means like your ad is not running efficiently. So if the campaign is performing well, which means like it's better than your target ROAS or A cost, and you should just increase your budget without any changes. So for example, if your goal is 35% and your campaign is running at 25%, and you should just spending as many as possible, because the more you spend and the more you make. And you can also even like increase your bid, and then to increase your A cost to reach more traffic. So but that is depends on what is your margin goal, right? So if that is the case, it's very easy, just increase the budget. But if your campaign is not perform well, for example, you have 50% A cost, if your goal is 35%, what are you going to do? My suggestion is you have to look at your targeting, right? And then because if you have several targetings, maybe some of them perform well, which is under 35%, and some of them is very bad, which is over 100 ACOS, or like you have clicks, no sales. So those are the targetings you need to optimize. So optimize your targeting, and secondly, look at your CPC. If the ACOS or ROAS is above your goal, and trying to optimize your CPC and bring your CPC down, and then that will easily, bring your ACOS and the ROAS to close to your goal. Generally speaking, is optimize your CPC first, and then you increase your budget. Because if you run out of budget, which means like you have enough traffic for the platform, you don't want to lose it. So after you optimized your CPC, and you probably will get the result you like, and you want to get in many traffic as possible. There's another way to optimize the CPC besides what I just mentioned about optimize the targeting, optimize the bid, is turn on the campaign at the end of the day instead of the beginning of the day. So the reason why is at the beginning of the day is very competitive, because if everyone is running campaigns and then they start from the beginning of the day, and your bid may be higher because everyone is bidding on it. But towards the end of the day, and a lot of sellers or some of the sellers will like you, they are running out of budget, right? So it's become less competitive, and it's very likely that even if you have a low bid, and then you are more likely to get traffic towards the end of the day. So that is my advice, is if you see a campaign is out of budget, that is the things you have to optimize, and how to optimize it, and based on the campaign's performance. So lastly, I want to discussing about the bid placement management. Bid placement management is very interesting because this is newer and then in the Amazon advertisement platform. So the rule of thumb is you want your ad spend and the clicks and into the placement that has the best performance. So in order to evaluate that, and you can look at your bid placement report, and you can download that from the Amazon Ads report, or you can just click into each campaign and check it one by one. My suggestion is you do it in bulk and by product, and combine with several campaigns and targeting the similar targeting. The reason why is if you look at individual campaign, and then data may not be large enough in order to make decision, and especially the top of search, and usually you get less top of search clicks and impression other than the product page and the rest of the search. So firstly, combine similar campaigns and then get enough data. So secondly is to evaluate and which position give you the best performance. Usually for the low price point products, and the top of search can give you the best performance, because people just click and buy because it's low dollar, and then they didn't think too much, and high dollar value product, and then we can see it might not be the case. So it depends on your product, and also depends on your historical performance, and you get that information. And the second step is how to direct the traffic into the placement that you want to be, right? So that is by bid adjustment. So we have to do the calculation about how much you set up your bid and how much you set up your bid adjustment, and in order to meet your CPC benchmark as we described it before. And you don't want to increase your bid adjustment too much to get the placement, and then at the end of the day you feel, oh, and that is ACOS is too high and doesn't meet your profitability goal. So that is not good either. So my suggestion is doing the calculation, using a formula to do the calculation, is how much you're going to bid and how much you're going to increase, and in order to get the position you want, but also meet your ACOS and taco goal. If you find this video is helpful for you, comment below or ask me any questions. Hit the subscription button to get more Amazon business value.